Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Australians, I'm here with Lucas tonight. Lucas has done a lot of research, so this live tonight is called Dispelling. Lucas has done a lot of research onto the origins and the meanings of words using phonetics. So this is another way that they have deceived and manipulated. It brings into it things such as admiralty law, and of course this is how the corporation operates. So I am now going to put this up, and Lucas is going to share with us his amazing research on this subject.
Thank you, Jackie, for that beautiful intro.
Let me get this right. Sorry. That's good.
Thank you for that introduction, Jackie.
Thank you.
G'day guys, thanks for tuning in. So tonight is the eclipse, the blood moon eclipse, and we're in it right now. And I tried to bring this information to you a bit earlier. I did a video with someone, but they backed out. Someone who calls themselves a truther, but the information was too above their head, and they were afraid they were going to lose their YouTube channel. So anyway, we're going to get it out, and what we're talking about is the... Why is that light flashing like that?
Sorry.
And we're going to be talking about how the system has kept people in a state of servitude and slavery and unknown slavery through the grammar and usage of words and magic spells or art through the use of words. Magic realism, it's called. It is a definition of literal use of words, basically to trick people, right? It's magic through use of words and spells. They're casting spells. Illusions, that's right. So thanks for tuning in. Please give us a comment, like and share this. This is important information. Not for the faint-hearted at all. We're going to be going deep into the origins of law and where it stems from. Egypt, right? We're going to be talking about the words and what they are. And I've been doing a lot of study and going into the etymology of words and breaking the words down into their fundamental meanings, what they mean, where they come from. Where's it all coming from? How are people being kept in this state? And it all really comes back to the capital letters. And I know a lot of people have heard this, but it does come back to the capital letters if we look in the law books and where the law books refer to. The capital letters, so what they've done, right, you all remember the story when Moses brought the Jewish people out of Egypt, and he gave them the 10 Commandments. And in those 10 Commandments, the first one was have no other God before me. The second one was make unto thee no graven images. Okay, and the last one of the last ones was do not covet, and basically do not lie. Let me just get these 10 Commandments, and this is fundamental. Because what's happened is the people in control now have taken the 10 Commandments and they've turned them into the 7 Noahide laws. Okay, Noah as a Noah, someone who knows. And they've taken out, they've replaced the 10 Commandments that set them free from Egypt, and they've replaced them with the 7 Noahide. So the ones they've taken out is thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt not bear false witness. And thou shalt not covet. They've actually taken those out, and for the Goyams, for the Westerners, they've given a set of Noahide laws, right? And while they've taken out the graven image, which is the all capital name, which when one puts their sign of nature on the cross, they sign the cross, the X, and X is another definition or a abbreviation of Christ, right? When they sign on the cross, they get put on the cross, they get crucified. And another abbreviation for Christian is X and T next to it. So you've got the X that you sign on, and then you've got the T, which is the sign of the cross that you get crucified after you sign. You give them your sign of nature on their documents, because those documents are their artworks. And you have to ask permission to use their artworks. And because you're asking permission to use their artworks, you come under the rules of their artwork. Okay, so a couple of the things they put into the Noahide laws was establish courts of law and ensure justice in our world, meaning their world, right, the elites. So establish courts, right? They've taken out the don't make the graven images and don't have other gods, and they've put themselves and the courts in the position of the gods, right? The court, the temple, the church, right? So they've put themselves in the position of the gods, and they've removed the commandments that would keep the people free, i.e. make unto thee no graven image. That one is fundamental, because that graven image is the all capital letter name. That is what condemns the people who sign those documents and give them to the court, right? Someone signs that document and they give it to the court or whatever institution they're buying a license from or identification from. And to make a payment in law is an agreement, right? So then you're agreeing to be under their rules, under their laws, okay? So it all goes back to Egypt. Please share if you're watching. We've all heard the word Pharaoh. Pharaoh is defined as the great house or the courthouse. And then we've all heard of Tutankhamun, Tutankhamun. You break the words down and it's tutelage, it's guardianship. Ankh is the life and the soul. And Amen is to give praise to or give homage to surrender yourself to, right? To ask. So Tutankhamun, which was one of the pharaohs, they say, is guardianship, is you giving them guardianship of your life and soul, and certainty of intention. Certainty is one of the definitions of Amen, and certainty of intention is what is required for a valid trust to be administered. The judge is acting in the capacity of a trustee. They're administering a trust that the people have signed themselves up to through the documents that belong to the court, and the people have signed up to the court through the documents, right? And then they're treated as corpses, as body corporates, as persons, as dead entities, right? Corpse. So they've entered into the corpse oration through the documents of the court. Okay, because the courts, the Pharaoh, right, where the law comes from, they are the orators. They create, they speak the documents into existence. They create the documents. They are the artists of the documents. So they are the administrators, the politicians, the courts are administrating the corpses. It's a corpse oration. Corpses of their oration, of their story. And they're bringing everyone into, the capital letters is to become capital property of capital, right? To be subject to capital punishment, right? From Capitol Hill, cap-I tail. Capital is to cap the eyes and cover the eyes with a tale, a story, a Roman aclef. It's important to understand that what I'm saying is all facts based on definitions and the etymology and the phonetics of words and the research into the etymology and phonetics of words. No, I'm all right, thank you. Just not sure how far we want to go on Facebook.
Freemasonry.
The Freemasonry comes into it as they are the Anubises. They are the courts, the police, the military. They are the guardians of the dead, of the underworld, of the necropolis, right? They are the guardians of this mortuary cult, right? This corpse oration. Okay, so the meaning of the symbols of Freemasonry, we have the compass and the square, which everybody knows. The compass and the square itself is defined as form, right? To form something, okay? And because it comes from Egypt and the pyramids, right? The square is used to form the base of the pyramid, which is a pyramid scheme. And that pyramid scheme is reflected, those buildings are a reflection or an echo of the pyramid scheme that they're running with the persons and the people. The King's and Queen's chambers is where you, the sovereign, as the sovereign when you're born, you get put into the King's or Queen's chambers, because as you're born, as you're incarnated into life, and then your guardian, your parent, your mum or your dad, puts you into their corporation through the documents, the birth certificate. That then places you in the King's or the Queen's chamber. So you are the Kings and Queens. You know you're the Kings and Queens because you feel it, and you feel something not right, because these people who are administering, these ministers, have exalted themselves above the stars, when by definition they're just mini stars. Right? But you know you're the sovereigns. But that's what the Kings and Queens chambers are. They're representations of the sovereigns, you, the people, going into the mortuary cult, which is what it is, right? Or it's called, going back to Egypt days. So the square is defined as it's something that forms something. So that square in the compass, the square is bringing people into form, into paper, into the paper realm, into the flat earth, the flat realm, right? The flat plane, the paper plane. The square is to form, bring people into form. The compass is to encircle people, right? They're trying to encircle the world with this paper corpse oration. And it's done through the grammar. The deception is done through the grammar that is on the documents. So they're giving full disclosure of the contract that the people are entering through the definitions and the grammar in the documents, being the all capitals, which means that it is for commercial use and for nothing else. That's how it's defined. The use of medial capitals, which is capitals in the middle of words, is exclusively for commercial purposes and has no other usage to name products and services. Then you look at the words date, time, place, and you look at the definitions in the commercial dictionary, and it tells you that these words mean a conveyance of ownership, a conveyance of property. So the disclosure of the contract is in the grammar and in the language used in the documents. But it appears that it's being enforced by, well, and perpetuated by that Masonic order. And I know that a lot of people who enter Freemasonry think they're entering to attain light and illumination. But even if you get to the top of the pyramid in that scheme, you're only attaining 2/3 of the way. You're missing out on the spiritual aspect of illumination. You're getting 2/3 of the way, mind and body, right? And you're missing the spiritual part. So you get the 2/3 is 0.666, right? That's the 666. Because they're told that as you get up in degrees, you get more enlightened. It's not true. It's artificial light. They are pulling you into the artificial system, or artificial system. And the higher you go up in that system, the deeper you go down in the spiritual, because that is a commercial system. It's a dead system. It's a corpse oration system. So the more accolades they get in that system, the higher they go in the mortuary cult. But in reality, they're going lower in the spiritual aspect. So they've been deceived. They've been hoodwinked. If you look at the handshake in the middle of the square and the compass, what that represents by definition is an agreement, right? That is the agreement to the signing of the form on the cross, which puts you on the cross, right? You sign on the X and then you get put on the cross, which is the definition for Christian, right? So you get put on this cross and then you get crucified and persecuted, because what you are doing is breaching the 10 Commandments. And the penalty for breaching the 10 Commandments is death, right? Not physical death of the body as you might think, but treated as a dead entity. That's why nobody has any human rights, because they're being administered by the corpse oration that they signed up to be a part of. It's really that simple. Is there anything else you can think of that's...
Well, some of the stuff that you touch on is very confronting, but it's for people. But this is, as we said, it's just a deciphering of things. So it's not against anybody's beliefs or anything else. So like where it started with the Zionist Jews, perhaps you want to touch on that a little bit as well.
Well, just to clarify, everything that I'm saying is just coming from dictionary references and deep study of the etymology and the phonetics of the word. And, you know, what it appears has happened is basically when the Jewish people were taken out of Israel, out of slavery from Egypt, they were given the 10 Commandments. But somewhere along the line, there's been a diminishing of the 10 Commandments that set them free, and possibly a insertion of someone else into the positions in Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. You know, possibly someone else coming in there, but what it appears is basically, and based on the definitions and breakdowns of the words such as Talmud, which is one of their religious texts, but if you break the word down, it's Talmud, it's to tell a story, to tell a lie. And the Talmuds they're the rabbis who can break down and decipher the magic that is hidden in the language. And
they adhere to the original scripture.
They adhere to the original scriptures, so they don't breach the Ten Commandments. They don't breach these original scriptures, but they give everybody else the opportunity and the forms, and that they bribe them with a promise of money, right? They bribe them, sign up to this and you'll get this, right? Like what Judas done, right? Do what Judas done, sell your soul, give your mind over to us. That's another definition for soul. Mind and soul are synonymous. You give them your mind or people give their mind when they sign over to them, and they sign on the cross. And that is their state of mind, that is their state of consciousness. When they're signing up onto their documents, into their artwork, they're expressing their level of consciousness, saying, yeah, we want to be part of your corporation. Either the people are illiterate because they don't know what they're signing, so they need a guardianship, or they want to be a part of the corporation. But people go up and they apply to be a part of it. They apply for the identification. They apply for these things, So, but, there is a deep spell that has come from Egypt. A deep, deep spell. And it's all in the grammar. Grammary is another word for grammar. That's necromancy and magic. The definitions of grammary, which is also synonymous with or defined as grammar, is necromancy and magic, because they're using a magic spell through the spelling. In the last video, I was really breaking down the names and the biblical terminology, the Bible, because they're selling a story. It's a Roman aclef, right? It's a story that can't be proved. Not saying that there wasn't a superconscious man who was bringing light and shedding wisdom and knowledge to humanity, who was connected to a cosmic consciousness. I'm not saying that didn't exist. I believe it did exist. But they've taken that story and they've put it on paper, but in a way that to be a part of that, or to be Christ-like on paper, in fact, by definition, is actually to crucify oneself, to become a part of the dioceses, to be dead in their sees, dioceses, right? To become a part of the church. And they've, I was breaking down the names of Jesus and Christ, and the names of the three wise men. If we look at these names and we break them down, they tell a different story to the story that people have been sold. The story that people have been sold is to trust in us, give us your trust, right? Pay, buy our bell. A bell is a sound. A bell is an emission of a sound. It's putting out sound, or a story. Yep. And just believe, get blown around with the sound of our bell. Buy our bell, because our bell, and just trust that everything will be okay. If I wanted to control people, I would say just trust everything will be okay. Just trust what I say and do what I say. Don't question anything, right? If I wanted to control people. But I don't. I like to shed the light and spread the light so people can come into higher levels of awareness and understanding, to break free from the shackles that is enslaving humanity. But, and I don't want to offend people, and I know talking about religion can really
It's confronting and yeah.
Can be very confronting for people, especially people who have dedicated their lives to it. And the principles and the spiritual connections to their Creator are real. You know, these connections and these spiritual experiences that people are having are real. The problem is that the story and the principles and the philosophies have been taken and used against people, right? And they've done that through the grammar, through the spelling, through the, you know, they've taken something good and they've turned it into evil, you know, because that's just what evil does, right? But if we look at the definitions of or Jesus, and we break it down into J-E, right? J-E and then S-U-S. J-E says C-G-E-E, right? G. And G is an asseveration, right? It's a solemn promise. And it's a discovery. These are the definitions of G-E-E, which is what J-E refers you to. Okay, so G is an asseveration. It's a solemn promise and discovery of documents. And then we look at Sus, S-U-S, and it refers you to Z-U-Z, Zeus. Okay? And the definition of Zeus is a silver coin of ancient Palestine, Hebrew. So we put those together, right? And it literally translates to a solemn promise by discovery of documents that you put into the court for money. Literally, you know, the definition of being Judas, right? You're selling out the Christ consciousness. Yeah, the consciousness, your soul, your mind, your soul, S-O-L, the light of soul, the sun, right? Light of creation on this world, on this realm. You're selling that out for a promise of money, right? That's what Judas does, right? Sells out the Christ for money, okay? And then we look at Christ.
Three wise men.
We'll go into the three wise men as well.
Yes, that's important.
Christ has a few different abbreviations. X, just a single X, or CH is an X, and an X and a T. An X is where you sign next to, right? You sign next to the cross. What's going on with your phone, Jackie? It looks like the screen's gone black. Just have a look. Sorry, guys.
What's going on there?
And I've got no view.
There we go. Look at that. It just turned itself off video. It just flipped itself off.
Bizarre.
We're having issues getting this out.
And I've got no... yeah, we're having a lot of issues getting this out. This is getting very blocked. Because this information is really... it goes to the heart, right? Because it's coming from the grammar, right? We're bringing light, shedding light onto how the magic trick is done. And when the magic trick can be seen by the people, the magic trick can no longer be done. That's why this information, and I'm not going to be able to get it all out tonight because there's so much of it, but this information as an aggregate is so important because, again, once you know a magician's secret to his trick, he can no longer play the trick on you, right? If we look at Christ and we break that down, cry and wrist. Cry is a sound, to make a sound, right? A sound is writing, synonymous with writing. To make a sound with the wrist, to sign away, right? So a solemn, Jesus Christ literally translates by definition to a solemn promise by discovery of documents for money, locked onto the cross, yep, by the signature, by the wrist, by the action of the wrist. That's something that I want you to know. Another thing that I want you to know.
Name either. It's that Yahweh.
Well, they don't use that word either.
No, I know.
Because that's also at the bottom of that definition. It says blasphemy. everything's upside down. Everything's back to front.
Flip everything 180 degrees.
It's all back to front.
It's the definitions of the names of the three wise men is fascinating as well. This is just fascinating information to...
If we look at Israel, is defined as characteristic of the third person, being the subject of. The third person is the corporate entity, is the person, the fictitious name, the all caps name, right? Ra, the shining ones, the illuminated ones, or the 3 R's of reading, writing, and arithmetic, the 3 R's, right? So those who know the 3 R's are considered the illuminated ones because of their mind, the information they know, right? But they don't have that spiritual connection. And L is an express agent, a tool of and for the shining ones. So Israel, characteristic of the third person, subjects of the shining ones, the illuminated ones, and express agents and tools of the illuminated. Isis, right, is connecting subject with proper words by form to locate in a place. Connecting the subject, the body of the person, right, the body, mind and spirit of the person, with the proper words, the proper spelling, by forms, to locate them into a place. A place is a standing, a class, a characteristic. And the second is of Isis is of the third person. So they're connecting the subject, the mind, body and spirit, with the words on the documents to locate them in a specific class where they will be treated as that class, as that legal standing of the third person, as the third person, as the corporation. That's Isis. Jackie liked the one about the 3 wise men.
And very interesting.
The 3 wise men who brought frank incense and myrrh. Maybe something else, I'm not sure. Named Balthazar, Caspar, and Malachi. You break the words down. Balthazar is Baal, the false god. Baal, the Tazar. Tazar is another word for a king or a leader, right? A dictator, whatever. Baal, the Tazar. That's Balthazar, the first wise man. Caspar, Casparian is of the Casparian Sea, or the Caspian Sea, Admiralty, right, of Iranian languages. And Melchior is a melody or a choir, a sound, right, a spoken written sound, an incantation that one, manifests, an incantation, what we speak, becomes, right, and a gathering of people. So Melchior literally translates to melody and choir, the sounds or the writings that bring people together. Balthazar is Baal, the false god, and Casparian is of the sea. So the false god gathering people together by melody into the Caspian Sea, or the Admiralty Law, the Admiralty Sea. Torah, broken down. Tor is a hill, an artificial mound, like a pyramid, right? That's an artificial mound. and R is a sound. Bringing people into the pyramid scheme through a sound. G'day Raymond, yeah, it's good to have Jackie here. It's nice. She made a beautiful beautiful dinner before. It's lovely. So, and you look at the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar is your judges, your lawyers. They are all your police. They are all sustaining and keeping in place the temple of the night, the dark temple, the temple of Baal, the temple of the false god, right? Because they've been told that it's the true God, the true light, and that the only way to the true light and the spiritual God and the prime creator, the divine grand architect, is through that system. When in actual fact, that system is the thing that keeps you away from the true light. That is the artificial light, right, of architecture. The spiritual light is the true light of the soul. Yeah, you can't attain that through material possessions, through architecture. So the Knights Templar, they're just the members of the religious military order, which is a lawyer or a law student, promulgating and propping up the system of the darkness. That's what Knights Templar. Night is dark, yeah. Dark is you can't see anything, you have no information. Yeah, they want to keep everyone in the dark so that they can control them and feed off them and feed the energy up to the top of the pyramid. Right? That's how the pyramid system works. Yep. They take the energy from the bottom and they feed it up to the top, taking blood from a stone. Literally, by definition, taking blood from a stone, because the graven image is synonymous with grave, which is synonymous with stone. So they're literally taking the energy, yeah, from the people and feeding it up to the top of the pyramid. You know, I wasn't going to do this video, I wasn't going to share this information, but what happened recently was, for the second time in a couple of weeks, the council took my dogs, and I explained to them that I wasn't in their jurisdiction and I'd taken myself out of the corpse oration, and my property, or the living property of the Ark, those Ark Sanctuarians, Jupiter and his moons, we're not part of that corpse oration and can't be administered by the dead. They can't be administered by them because they don't have the jurisdiction, because they are in a lower jurisdiction. Those in the corpse oration are in a dead jurisdiction. The dead cannot rise up and take from the living. It's an impossibility. And if they do, that means that their system is based on nothing, a lie. It's a house of cards, right? Birth certificates, pieces of paper. It's a card, right? That's another definition of card, just a bit of paper with something on it, right? It's a house of cards. But because they did that, and I explained all that to them, and they still refused, they said, well, we don't acknowledge that. We don't acknowledge that. I'm like, all right, well, I don't acknowledge you. That's no problem. Yeah, but you've taken my stuff, Ark Sanctuarians and Ark Sanctuary property, you've got to bring it back, and you've got 7 days to bring it back, or this is going to go to the highest court, and justice will be swift. And it's gone to the highest court. They didn't bring him back by close of business today, which was the 7 days they had. It went to the court, and the court deliberated and said, well, if they don't respect your sovereignty, they have none, and you cannot respect their sovereignty. People talk about respect. Respect is a two-way street, and the act of the agent is the act of the principal. And I gave forewarning in my videos. We see the G in the symbolism of Freemasonry. The G represents the number 7, which there are 7 Noahide laws which the Freemasons are upholding and enforcing upon what they would call the Goyim, the Westerners, right? The Western civilization. They call you Goyim and they say that you don't know what's going on because you can't read our spells and our magic spells. Well, your magic spells have been dispelled. They're getting dispelled right now. Your spells no longer have any power or effect because they have been dissolved. Right? The Sphinx and the woman of the Sphinx is going back to the abyss. Tonight it ends. It's done. I know most people won't really comprehend fully what I'm saying, but just know that everything I'm saying is fact based on definition. These aren't my opinions. These aren't spiritual beliefs. These aren't, airy-fairy coming from, what I want it to be. This is all based on definitions and distilling the definitions to bring it to you in a way that is palatable from many, many hours of research.
To bring clarity.
To bring clarity. The Ark of the Covenant. The big secrets. The Ark of the Covenant is a vessel containing hidden arcanum secrets to the agreements. See Oxford Jewish Law. Noahide laws. So the Ark of the Covenant is a vessel containing hidden arcanum secrets to the agreements. See Oxford Jewish Law. Noahide laws. Noah, the Noahs, hide the laws of the 10 commandments that would keep you free. Make unto thee no graven image, have no other gods before me. And when you submit and you beg them for permission through the payments that you make to them to have permission to exercise the rights that you already have, that is considered having another god. So the people are punished with a legal death, capital punishment for the capital letters that they use on their documents and that they claim when they take the mail and accept the mail addressed to the capitals. When you open that mail and you claim it, you are agreeing to being the person of that. Look at Adam and Eve. Adam, the first man. Or dam, a dam. What is a dam? A mother, usually of beast. The devil and his dam. Eve is the day before the church's festival, the day before the signing of the documents. Eve tempts Adam to bite the apple, right? The apple is defined, or some of the definitions, of Sodom, of the Dead Sea. So you become part of the Dead Sea when you bite the apple, when you sign the document. You become a part of the beast. You're of the dam, the dame, the mother, right, who signs you up to the Dead Sea. The Admiralty law, the commercial law, the corpse oration system. Corpse oration. They are orating the narrative. They are the orators. So the pyramid scheme is one corporation controlling a number of corporations which controls another number of corporations. That's the pyramid, right? Pyramid scheme. And that's what it is, it's a scheme. And what's a scheme? A scheme is a ruse. It's a underhanded plot by definition. If we look at the definition of Holy Grail, it refers you to, or one of the definitions is sangreal, sangreal, S-A-N-G-R-E-A-L, sangreal. He sang, he used his voice, he put the word out there, and it became real. Right? The chalice is to put a person, C-H-A, is to put a person on ice. Chalice. That's what it means. What is a person on ice? They're a dead person in a mortuary. That's the mortuary cult. The chalice. All of these biblical, well, not all of them, the biblical references that I have looked at and cross-referenced are all referring to bringing people into the system of Baal, of Osiris, of the administration of the dead, into the corpse oration, into the mortuary cult. And this information goes so much deeper, and there's so much more to it that I would like to share at some point. Let's have a look here.
It's been a good introduction. Lucas, a really good introduction for people anyhow, just to see it. You know, as we all know, it's a grammar game.
It is. You know, everything I'm saying, you know, it may seem a little bit discombobulated. I'm not sure if I'm distilling it well enough for people to comprehend, but it all comes down to the grammar, to the grammary, right? The magic, that's the definition of grammar, of grammary, is magic and necromancy. Okay, these things, let me find the definition of necromancy.
Even if you finish off on that note, because that's what this is about. The corpse oration.
Oration.
So go into that then, because that's what this is really about. The grammary, the grammar.
Yeah, the grammar. All right, let's have a look at grammar.
So it's just deciphering for people or showing them how they have used the grammar to create this illusion, to deceive us and to manipulate over the years. I find it fascinating.
All right, grammary. In Oxford Dictionary, from architecture, and understanding that architecture is defined as not only the buildings but also the plans, right, and the tools used to build those buildings. Architecture is all of it, and the plans include the builders because they're part of the building of it, right? So architecture is a big part of it, or the arch that goes over the pillars in Freemasonry. The pillars, by definition, are those who support the state, right, by their taxes. Okay, so grammary is the art, the magic which is defined as art, right? And the ability to manipulate energy, energy to get energy to do what you want it to do. That's what magic is, right? And necromancy. Necromancy is the art of predicting by means of communication with the dead. That's grammary, which also refers you to grammar. Grammar is the art and science of dealing with a language's inflections or other means of showing relation between words as used in speech or writing and its phonetic system. And the list goes on for a page. Art or science. Art is the important one. Art. Black magic. Magic. See square. Look at square. Freemasonry. Art is also a skill, especially human skill opposed to nature. Skillful execution as an object in itself. Skill applied to imitation and design, as in paintings. Black magic. Or black art, black magic. And that's what it all is. It's all an art. It's all an art. The media is part of the art, right? They're controlling the mind through the media. You know, there should be no issues with this information getting out because the whole system is said to be based on consent. They must have certainty of intention to administer a trust, right, which is what the courts are doing. They must have certainty of intention, which is the consent which comes from the documents, okay? And in order for there to be consent, there must be knowledge of the contract and that it is a contract. So simply giving information out, explaining the contract that people are under should not be a problem. Because in order for that contract to be valid, this information must be understood by both parties, or the contract doesn't exist. If the people entering the contract are told it's one thing and it's something else, then there's no contract. So, you know, getting out of the corpse oration, giving them back their documents, and leaving all the national debt with the corporation and pulling yourself out of it and going somewhere else is the only way that the children and the grandchildren are not going to be left with unpayable debts and condemned to slavery for their entire lives. It's the only way it's going to happen. That corporation must die. Literally speaking. In literacy. And the way that happens is everyone leaves the corporation. Everyone gets off the ship and the ship can no longer operate. The debt goes with the ship. The national debt belongs to the government, not the people. But as long as the people are a part of that government, are signed up to that corporation, then the debt belongs to those individuals who are part of the corporation.
Thank you, Lucas.
You reckon that's enough?
Yeah, I reckon it's enough. It's a lot for people to take in. But look, as we all know, it is a grammar game. They have tricked us and have done for thousands of years. So this is another way that they have perpetuated all of this. So thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming. Thanks for sharing this and helping us get it out on this.
No, it's my pleasure.
It had to be done tonight.
It's my role as the matriarch here.
And all these other, you know.
So I've stepped in here as a...
She's got the true power and the true courage.
Well, it's just we've got to get the truth out there, and this is part of the way that they have perpetuated us through the deceit and the manipulation. They've created illusions. So
they're keeping people controlled
Lucas's
through
research
fear.
is amazing.
They're keeping people controlled through fear, and the perfect example of this is we did this video an hour and 17 minutes before with a friend, a so-called truther, right? And she didn't want to put the information out because she was afraid that, you know, she didn't look too good in it, or it might, you know...
It might be confronting or upset people, or her YouTube channel might get shut down. But look, this is the thing. This is not...
The truth is the truth.
The truth is the truth. This is a truther movement. It has been from the beginning. We are not asking for our freedom. We are free. Stand up and own it. So this is just about getting factual information out there. And so this is why I love what Lucas has done, because it's research based on phonetics and sounds and frequency and energy are, you know, that is what this world is.
Nikola Tesla said, if you wish to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration. And the phonetics is the frequency and the vibration, right? And the energy, right? It's all of it. They've encompassed all of it. And,
yes.
And that's how they're doing it.
Okay.
You want to sit there?
Oh, yes, let me sit on the corner. This is us. Not old age, nothing to do with that at all. But
So,
we needed to get this out there. So thank you very much, Lucas. It's great to have this, just getting this information out to people to see exactly how it's how they perpetuated it.
well, thanks for making sure that I got it out.
Yeah, no, we had to get it out there.
Because, you know, there was some speed humps and
yeah,
it was a bit disheartening, but
it's just getting truth out there. So have a look at it. It is a grammar game. We all know that. They brought us into Admiralty law. They have corporatised us because corporations are dead entities and they have got no authority, no jurisdiction over living men and women, over sovereigns.
But the problem is...
But we need to understand that.
You need to understand...
Even though I'm going into the High Court, I know.
People have got to understand that...
Try from all angles here.
As a part of that corporation, you're bound by the rules of the corporation.
That they're not adhering to themselves. So... Look, the bottom line is it's up to us to stand up. We are the power.
Just leave it. Just leave. Just jump off the sinking ship. And
it's another way to do it.
Leave them with the debt. Because if you keep fighting for that system, right, you're going to be stuck with the debt. You're not going to be able to get rid of it. You're going to be, you know, the grandchildren are going to be enslaved. Just get out of it. Leave the debt. Leave the debt with the company.
Compliance is what's created this situation. Once again, we're in a slave system. If you have got to, if your life is spent on working and working and working simply to provide shelter for your family and put food on the tables, you're a slave, and don't think otherwise. We've got to get out of this system, step out of it, stand up and own it. So
when you can't when you can't follow your own inclinations, your natural inclinations, your spiritual inclinations to do whatever you want to do, so long as you're not interfering with someone else's right and taking away from somebody else, then you're enslaved. If you cannot follow your natural inclinations, you're enslaved. I'm sorry, I know there's people that say they're spiritually free and all this stuff. Trust me, you know, you can't be just one. It's mind, body and spirit is a trinity, and all three must be free. And I can't be free unless you're free, so it behooves me to get this information out. Maybe some of us have come here just to bring this information and we're free anyway, but you know, we want to free everyone so that we can live in a free world. Yeah.
There's a lot to understand. These rabbit warrens. There's millions of them. So we just had to get this information out. So it's just a very important part of how they have perpetuated us and kept us in a slave system for so long. Once again, it's all fear, duress, coercion, it's deception and manipulation by creating illusions, and we comply. Compliance is usually done under fear, duress or coercion in one way or another. So
I just realised that these things almost look like bathrobes. They're not bathrobes.
Oh,
they're actually
God, no.
kimonos.
Look, hold on. Oh, you're going to have to hold me onto the... Mine's got a drag.
Turn around.
Oh, here we go. Mine's got a dragon and a tiger, which represents myself and my daughter.
So this is a gift I bought. I didn't know who it was for, but it turned out it was for Jackie. And yeah.
And we've got the eclipse tonight, so we're going out there and we're going to now do some
ceremony.
Spiritual praying and ceremony. So, yes. Oh, goodbye everybody on Lucas's life as well. And thank you for listening. It's probably worthwhile going over this a little bit later and replaying it just to go over and understand, or comprehend I should say. It's a bad word, understand. Just the meanings behind things. So flip everything 180 degrees. In light, in love, in peace. We'll get this done, people. And we are the power in more ways than one as well, spiritually.
We've already got the knowledge. Yeah. We've already got the information. I really tried to get this out on another platform that would have reached a lot more people a lot quicker, and this might not be the right one. And, you know, I don't know if it will get shut down or not, whatever. But, you know...
Go within. Go within
love,
for the answers.
Many blessings. Not all love is light and fairy and airy, right? Some love takes, you know, a bit of hard work and a bit of going into the darkness as well, right? And a lot of so-called gurus these days are not willing to face the realities of their existence. It's too much for them.
You fight for what you love.
So they use this spiritual bypass and they say, oh, that's not me and that's not for me. And they're coming from a place of fear because of things they might lose in the physical reality when they're saying that they're in these higher dimensions and they're coming from this higher spiritual place, when actually they're stuck in the fear that they might lose their platform, or they might lose these things. Oh, I don't know what people are going to think of how I look. If that's how you're thinking, you're stuck. You are in the 3D. You're not getting out of it, right? If you can't do what you want to do because someone's telling you can't, you're a slave. Body, mind and spirit, it's that simple, period. Many blessings, much love, more to come. Take care out there. Enjoy the eclipse.